everyone, and welcome to Club 3, episode 25 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. I don't even know what my name is today. Yesterday I didn't know the title of the, the thing that I was doing either. It's going very well this week, folks, I'm telling you. Anyway, Derby County, Rolling in the Isles, FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Let's see where we're up to. We're currently sitting in 11th. Having played 15 matches. It's going pretty well, really. In comparison to what the expectation of the start of the season was, we are way ahead of the curve, which is brilliant. The last few matches have been inconsistent, but, you know, nothing that you wouldn't expect. We lost to Man City, which, you know, was fine by me, but look at the scoreline against Southampton. This is a side that dominated the championship we were in last season, and we beat them 4-0. So we've obviously improved and our confidence levels have gone through the roof, which really helps when you come up against the likes of Southampton. Beat Wolves as well, 2-1, very close game, good game to win against a decent opponent. And then came unstuck against Newcastle. One of those games where you're not really sure exactly what happened. I rotated the side a little bit, but not too much. And ultimately we came a bit unstuck against them. They just obviously had the right tactic and the right style of play to counter what we were doing. I tried a number of different things that didn't work. We lost 2-0 in the end. And all that means, as I say, that we're sitting comfortably mid-table with 15 matches gone. And that still means that we've got plenty of matches still to come and some tough ones. Today, we get Burnley, and Burnley are sitting in 14th, so a couple of places below us. But anybody that knows the Premier League knows that Burnley are a challenging side to play in reality terms. So we'll see what they're like today in Football Manager terms. In terms of the players, things have taken a bit of an upturn in the sense of Ida is scoring more goals, which is positive. He was stuck on 3 for a little while, and I was a bit concerned that he was losing his touch slightly, but he's been scoring a bit recently. Joku has been a good player in that holding midfield role. He's not one of our stars necessarily, but he's certainly playing well this season. And Martinez has completely changed since last season when he was really unhappy about the whole situation, about coming into the club and not quite being what he thought it was going to be or something, and got cross and threw his toys out the pram and all sorts. But he's since done very, very well, and he won an award, a monthly award, a little while ago. We sit in the 5th of December, so for November he won an award and actually dedicated it to me, which is amazing because last season he didn't want to be here at all. Anyway, he's doing well as well. So things have turned a corner in terms of some of our players playing a little bit better, which is great. The average ratings don't look that great, to be honest, when you go and have a look at them, but I'm not so worried about that because collectively as a team we're doing quite well. We've got a couple of injuries. Story is a little bit injury prone this year, a bit like how Loku Doku was for us last year. It seems that Story is the one that's going to keep picking up little knocks. And Alistair Murray as well, our left-sided option behind Loku Doku. He's out through suspension. He picked up a red card in the last game. So, yeah, or a couple of games ago, I think it was, and then got 3-game ban in total. So he's still out. But Story's the problematic one, out for a couple of weeks again. We're going to have to protect him a little bit, I think, to get him into the first team a little bit in the second half of the season, more specifically. If you remember, Loku Doku did that for us last year. He came good halfway through the season. Some of his injuries dropped off, and then he performed very well for us. So hopefully Story can do that as the season progresses. All of that means that against Burnley today, we're going to go with our asymmetric main tactic rather than the defensive one that we use for some of the bigger sides. And that means Bazunu in goal, Guilbert at right back, Target at left back, Portus instead of Story, and Harwood Bellis in central defence with Joku, Vera and Martinez in central midfield, with Knoll on the right, Loku Doku on the left, and Ida up top, with a bench of Burns, Cooper, May, Silas, Murphy, McCowan and Audran. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So coming out the back of the Newcastle loss, I've told them that I expect to see a much better performance today. We're at home, which always helps. But yeah, put the onus on them to perform well in some of these matches. Don't always just let them drift into it and hope they do well. Sometimes you've got to say we've got to be better, and hopefully that will bring out a good performance from them. It's been an interesting start to the match in terms of 15 minutes gone and no highlights, but a fair amount of shots at goal, of 2 or 3 each so far. And here's the first highlight. It goes for us in midfield. Joku picks up the ball and back into Harwood Bellis and right the way back to the goalkeeper, keeping good possession. That's a positive to my mind at this point, as long as we then do something successful with it. And it almost gets through to Ida, but not quite. And that long ball didn't quite do the job for us. And that means that Burnley can pick up the ball and take their time to build up down the right-hand side, which they do very nicely. Cuts it centrally into Hayden and onwards to their striking option and back into Hayden in midfield. And they keep the ball well, but we're keeping our shape and pressing them in a reasonable way. So can we get a foot in, or are they going to get a chance? Down the right-hand side again, cuts it in, and they had a good chance, and it was a good strike. I don't know where the goalkeeper was, though, really. I don't think that was his best moment, and Burnley go one up. It was a good move. They did it very, very nicely, some good passing. And then it was Neto on that first time shot that I think just took the goalkeeper by surprise. Couldn't quite get his feet planted properly. And it powers past him. And that's a little bit disappointing. You could feel that the shot was coming or something was coming. But I think the quality on it, the goalkeeper should have done a bit better, really. A chance for us, though, down our left-hand side off a throw-in. Loku Doku into the box, and the goalkeeper manages to scramble it wide of that post by inches. And we go for another corner kick. So the corner comes to the far post this time. Goalkeeper punches it out. Vera picks up the loose ball, crosses it back in, but it was a bit of a wayward, drifty cross. And the goalkeeper comes out and claims it quite happily, really. And again, we're a little bit toothless maybe up top. We're not quite impactful enough on the game. A good claim by Bazunu there, and a good distribution out to Knoll on this right hand side. He passes it back into Gwilbert, and they try and switch the play to the left hand side. Loku Doku just about makes something from it and gets it onto Ida. Nice touch through Loku Doku, and Ida, not quite sure what that was. Again, poor decision making in that last third of the pitch. And that shot was so wide that it didn't trouble anybody other than maybe the person sitting behind the corner flag. But there we go. Again, we have another attempt at bringing the ball forward, and we lose out, and Burnley take the ball from us and counter-attack on us. Good foot in there by Joku then, but the ball falls again to the Burnley players, and they continued their movement towards our goal down this left-hand side. But they have to go back on themselves. And again, we keep the shape. And this time, Martinez nicks in and takes the ball very nicely. Finds the on-running Loku Doku into the box. Again, wrong choice. He chose to shoot. And it was a decent shot, but he should have crossed it into that 6-yard box. And the oncoming Ida was there. And again, we make a slight error. And will that come to bite us again? Corner kick came in and Burnley managed to clear it. And now they get a chance to have another go at our goal. But they didn't quite make it on that occasion. And the highlight dies. And what we can see from the stats of the game as we just go into half-time is that in terms of the gameplay, it's very even. 8 shots for us, 6 for them, 5 on target for us, 2 for them. But they've got their goal. And then 46% to 54% of possession suggests it is a very even game. But we've missed our chances. And we're going to have to assertively do something about that, I think, at half time. So assertively, let's see, what should we do? I think we will go out there and give these fans their money's worth. Did that motivate anybody? Nope. So we're going to go in passionately and say that we have faith in them and just see if we can get a response out of them in their body language before they go out for the second half. And that's better. Bit of happiness, bit of motivation. Let's see whether that makes a difference in this second half. And immediately coming out, we're going to change from balanced into positive and just see if we can up the tempo of our attacking play a little bit. Ida on the ball, gets past one player. Second player rises the challenge of the second player into Loku Doku. Perfect chance, and the goalkeeper does enough again to scramble it away, and the defender backs him up and boots the ball clear. We're doing pretty well in creating those types of chances. It's just not quite happening in front of goal for us today. So at this point of 4 minutes gone, I'm going to go in and see what we can change. And immediately it's obvious. Loku Doku on a 5.7 average rating. That's really, really poor. Obviously, Murray, our normal left-sided option, isn't around. So we're going to put McCowan out there instead. We're going to take Ida out and put Aldrin on just because there's not been that clinical finisher in front of goal today. And then we've got a couple of anxious players. Noll on the right, who can be a little bit fragile, it seems. He's only young. He's 18 years old in a new country and a new league, etc. So you can understand it for the first season, but a little bit fragile. I want him to be a little bit tougher. He's a bit anxious, and so is Vera as well. We're going to take Vera out today and bring Silas on, a youngster that we brought into the club last season, if you remember. And then we're going to ask them to get, we're going to shout out to them and get creative, and then we're going to change it up and go attacking rather than positive, and just see if we can get anything from the last few minutes of this game. It's not a disaster at this point for us to lose a couple of matches, of course not, but it loses momentum and confidence, and that's really important to try and maintain that as much as you can, because that's the way you get some of the better performances out of your side. But it looks like we're on the losing end today. Burnley get one last attempt at a chance at our goal, and they almost take it, but such an acute angle, and it hits the side netting, and there goes the final whistle. It's the kind of game that you get when you're first in the Premier League, it feels like. It was the same against Newcastle as well. You just occasionally come up against those sides that you don't expect to be the big sides in the league, but they're tough to play. So we're going to calmly say, unlucky boys, and just leave it there and keep them motivated, keep them moving forward. Then come back out and see what that's done to our league position for where we are today. Just check in with the current table. If we go and have a look at that, what we'll see is we are sitting in 11th still. People have all played their 16th game mostly around us. A couple of teams ahead of us directly haven't played that yet, so there could be a little bit of a gap starting to appear if we don't start picking up a few points. But to be honest, ultimately, it doesn't really matter, does it? The only thing that matters is that we finish 17th or above in the Premier League and stay in it. That's all that matters. And with 22 points on the board already after 16 matches, you've got to believe that we can do that. Normally, it takes about 40 points to stay up and be secure. So to get 22 after 16 matches is incredibly good. Let's see if we can continue that moving forward. What have we got coming up in the next few games? We've got the likes of Crystal Palace, Everton, Chelsea, Villa, Barnsley, Arsenal. Barnsley in the FA Cup. That's a reasonably good draw. You know, they're a lower side than us in terms of their division, so that's always good. And then we've got these double header against Arsenal, Man United again in January. That's going to be tough, isn't it? So we're going to come back, and what we always do is play the last game of the calendar year before we go into the January. So I'm going to come back and play Villa. It's a televised match, and it's our home game, so hopefully we'll get a chance for some points there. But between then and now and then, Palace, Everton, Chelsea, I hope there's a few points in there. A couple of points would be good. A win maybe against Palace. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But join me for the next episode to find out what happens next. It's still going really, really well. I'm so happy with where we find ourselves in the table, considering our promotion into the Premier League this season, being the newbies. It's good. So join me for the next episode. Thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Click that like button if you haven't on this particular episode. I'll see you very, very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.